Good morning. Do you have your cup of tea? Let's start off by getting comfortable. Wiggle around a little until you find a good spot. Have a nice deep breath. And feel the warmth of your teacup on your fingers. Today, I got my teacup a little too hot again. I was very excited to pour my tea. And so I'm feeling some discomfort with the heat that's a little warmer than I would like it to be. That's okay. It won't burn me. And as you take a deep breath in, smell your tea. And while you're smelling it and feeling what that smell feels like in your nose, what are you saying to yourself about that smell? Are you saying that it is aromatic? Are you saying that it's floral? Maybe you're drinking thyme and oregano and garlic tea and you're wrinkling your nose a little and saying, it doesn't smell very good, but I'm going to drink it because it's good for me. When you taste your tea, maybe it's delicious. Maybe it's bitter. But what do you think about while you're experiencing the flavors? Do you think, I taste bitterness and also some pungency? Or do you think, ugh, I should have put in honey? We assign values to smells and flavors. If you've ever watched a dog smell another dog's butt, or walk right up and smell another dog's poop and thought, ew. But the dogs don't seem to think that. They don't have the same values about the properties of smell that we do. In our culture, when we think about flavors, we tend to say that something that tastes bitter is yucky. Or if we're more sophisticated, perhaps we say that it doesn't appeal to me. But we have these values that we wrap up into flavors. And instead of simply objectively observing that the flavor is pungent, like horseradish, we skip that word and we move right to, ugh, it's too strong. I love to see when I post on social media things about fire cider, for example, and comments come back, how could you ever drink that? And people have lots of feelings about the flavor. It's okay to have feelings about flavors. It's okay to have preferences. It's okay that some things appeal to you and some things don't. But right now, we can actually let that observation of our reactions to certain smells and our reactions to certain flavors help us to notice that we do this with things that are not smells and flavors. So just like you might taste something bitter and say, ugh, I should have put sugar in that, you might look at your day at the end of the day and say, ugh, I should have done more. In both of these situations, we've skipped the objective observation and moved straight to the value statement, straight to a judgment. if we could allow ourselves to simply say, I noticed that this is bitter, and just leave it there. Maybe we take action on that note, on that thing that we've noticed. Maybe we do add honey. But we simply just notice that it's bitter. What would that mean about what we observe about our day at the end of the day? I observed that this day didn't go the way I had planned. So when we think about what we judge along with what we notice, we can start to pull those two things apart. And maybe, if we practice it often, we can begin to stop judging ourselves when we look at what we have or haven't accomplished at the end of the day. When we tell ourselves that we're bad because certain things didn't get done, and usually totally fail to acknowledge that other things did get done in the place. Instead, we can just acknowledge, these things are complete. These things are not yet complete. Just subjective statement without putting that pressure on ourselves of what we've done or what we haven't done. Without putting that pressure for things to be perfect. Just simply observing objectively with no value statement. The wonderful thing about that is when you first start off with herbalism and begin to encounter some bitter flavors, in the beginning, you may wrinkle your nose quite a lot. But as time passes, your tolerance and even your appreciation for bitter flavors begins to grow. And suddenly flavors that you found very unappealing, that you judged to be yucky, aren't that to you anymore. And so I wonder if, as we move through our days, if we can allow ourselves to be more objective about what we're experiencing, to assign less value, to not feel the pressure to tell ourselves that we are or are not good. If we could move in that direction, could we also, just like we develop a tolerance and maybe even appreciation for bitter flavors, could we develop a tolerance and maybe even appreciation for ourselves, for the way that we get through a day, for doing the best that we could? I hope so. Let's try it. I think that it starts with just being with your teacup and experiencing what you experience objectively. Just smell the smell. Name it. Ah, that's aromatic. Ah, that is warm. Just taste the taste. I taste bitterness. I feel warmth on my tongue. The more that we practice this kind of observation, and then practice allowing ourselves to observe our own day, our own selves this way, maybe the gentler we can be with ourselves. I'll see you again tomorrow with another cup of tea.